And welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Juan Cena, and with me this evening we have IWAR BRL Commissioner Matt Riley, CWL Commissioner Mr. Anderson. How are you guys doing tonight? I dig it.
Excellent. Thank you.
This is the show that goes through the stop sign. It's happening.
I want to warn everyone in advance. This show will go off the rails. I would historically apologize, but I'm not apologizing for shit. So there's that. So this episode will be the August cycle in review. And I think on this episode, not to throw a curveball, we're going to start with the CWL. CWL champion, the River Dancer, Mike Collins. Network champion, Wildcard, Garrett Shadowstar. United States champion, Toxic. Yukon champion, Hazard. Caribbean champion, Scotty Flash. Amazon Basin champion, Ethereal Guardian. British Isles champion, Felix, Nine Lives, Buenaventura. Arabian champion, Barry, Takeney Stevens.
Yeah.
South African champion, Liam Markham. Siberian champion, Nasty, Norman Krasner. East Asian champion, the Turkey, Harley Brown. Oceanic champion, the Tyrant, David Hammerhead. CWL Tag Team champions, Wildstar, Garrett Shadowstar, the Tyrant, David Hammerhead. Network Tag Team champions, Ulysses and Piper Monroe, in their debut too. CWL Six-Man champions, Pop Culture, Peter Cross, Bill Bonecutter, Bob Bonecutter. Network Six-Man champions, Joe Boring, Ricky Kyle, and Lauren Order. So, Mr. Anderson, what's going down in the CWL?
Well, got a lot of exciting stuff right now. Our pay-per-view took place in the August cycle, so look for all of that exciting results in the next cycle's bulletin. I don't want to reveal too much on the show today. In addition to that, our Tantum tournaments will start next cycle. I'm excited about that. The tournament brackets are in the bulletin. If you have any questions, please message me, let me know. If you want your team to be in the Tantum division, message me, do it in the Trash Talk, hit me up on the Facebook page, whatever you want to do. Just let me know. I can add you. Right now we have 15 teams, which I think is pretty incredible. I'd like to make it even more. I want the CWL to continue to be the place for tag team wrestling and just make it so massive it's utterly ridiculous. That's my goal. I want it to be ridiculously big. In addition, one more thing real quick. The number one contender, as posted on the Facebook page, Joe Boring, the man that's on the roll of the century. So he will challenge the Continental Champion for the next 5-cycle series. So for the CWL Trash Talk, what do you gentlemen have?
I have Dixon Ticonderoga.
I really enjoy his stuff as always, but he stepped up his game, and he is still training with Barry Stevens. But there's a lot of tension showing that perhaps he's going to not appreciate his instructor and side up with the man who first wanted to train him, Mr. Magnificent Jamie Montgomery. So I like that there was a TT that also evolved and helped promote the storyline. I enjoy that a lot.
And for me, I want to talk about Lauren Order. He was recently arrested after causing a disturbance at a Hampton Inn. Why wasn't it a Motel 6?
I love Holiday Inn Express. Hey, Lauren Order, are you the CWL champion? No, but I did disrupt everything and tear down a Holiday Inn Express last night. Great job.
So Lauren trashes the.
Okay, so
Lauren was he smashed up the lobby and all the furniture, and he was arrested. So it's going to be it's unknown if he's going to make his appearance at Wrestle Frenzy.
You may hear me rustling my materials here.
I thought you were playing with your penis.
No, of course not.
Wow.
Come on, there are certain things you don't do on air, sir. On the last Tubecast, I got a little overly excited, and I went over like
you were playing with your
trash
penis?
talk. So I'm not going to do that I'm not going to do it, but please know, if I don't talk about your trash talk, it was probably still fantastic. For my money's worth, and I feel like I'm obviously a super biased opinion, but the CWL is one of the top trash talking leagues in the IWA, and I know trash talk is a dirty word right now, apparently. Oh, sorry. But I think it's an excellent place if you enjoy trash talk. That said, running down my favorites, top favorites. Friendzone Frederick Goodfellow has a couple of notes, and he puts them in envelopes. And he gives one to Vanessa Bell. He gives one to the cool one, but they get switched. And so the message that he intends for Vanessa Bell goes to the cool one and vice versa. So that, to me, was hilarious. It was excellent. Good stuff. Good laugh. The Agents of Chaos were talking about their recent run. They managed to defeat the Stones. Super close series. Hope to see another one between those two teams. But they also won, they also won the Murano. They also harken back to winning the Vendetta Cup. And then they talk about how they had this kind of parting of ways with the Forgotten Vagrant, now Ethereal Guardian. And maybe it's time to mend that fence. So some character development there with the Agents of Chaos. I'll be excited to see where that goes. And then finally, I have to talk about the Oddball Express. I think I'm a mark for when it makes me laugh. And Milton Snozbuster and Pokey McStale make me laugh every time. There are so many funny lines in here. My favorite of which is when Milton wants to use polyester outfits. And McSnail is like, our girlfriends wouldn't like that. What are you talking about? You said the attire would be made by Polly and Esther. Come on. That's just good stuff. It cracks me up. So those are my top three. Everything was pretty much top to bottom was excellent. So thank you again. Amazing, amazing stuff. That's my three. I'm cutting myself off.
All right. So next up is the BRL League Champion, winning $50 in IWA credits. Sinister Steve Stryker, TV Champion Sir Gunter Kinderwatt, Atlantic Champion Jackie Moon, Central Champion Ava Von Schnapp, Dixie Champion Benny Blizz, Eastern Champion Asher Rothschild, Mountain Champion Randy Rambunctious, it's a cool name, Northern Champion Shadow Warrior, Pacific Champion Prince Tun, Prairie Champion Misfit Messiah, Southern Champion Sam Swagger, Western Champion Mills Payne, Tag Team Champions Misfit Puppet number 1 and Misfit Messiah, TV Tag Team Champions Lord Sheldon Bishop and Classy Eddie DeGrassi, Six-Man Champions Shadow King, Storm King, and Silver King, TV Six-Man Champions Blood Money, Fatty the Butcher, Jax Molson, and Gunnar Molson. So, Matt, what's going down in the BRO?
Well, this was a very, I mentioned earlier, my CWL trash talk choice was because that it promoted the angle, pushed the storyline, moved things forward. We had a lot of that in BRL this cycle. We saw, well, I should actually let you guys go first because I don't want to double dip here. So, what did you see?
Oh, you would like me to go first?
Yeah, because,
well,
if I go first, you're not going to get any enjoyment out of it. So,
at the risk of upsetting the man with my favorite laugh in the world, the Ladies' Choice Jake Joyce, I wanted to talk about Luther Alexander's promo simply because not only was it in typical Luther form, he's currently feuding with Elgato, but the incredible picture we have this cycle, it's a little different than it normally is. It's looking pretty fierce, and he's talking about how Lucha Libres are criminals, and he's going to end them, and Elgato is kind of at the center of his attention right now, and so, obviously, is it Sergey?
Sergey
is his friend. Okay, so now Luther has Sergey, and so it's heating up, folks. And I, as a huge fan of Elgato, obviously I'm concerned for his well-being and safety.
No, I did want to talk about this, TT, because what I did with this particular trash talk is I took a lot of things that racist people would say and just turned it on its head and basically said it about Lucha Libre. So Luther really cut this super dark, menacing promo. And in typical Luther fashion, he ends it by introducing Sergey the Space Monkey to be his friend and his and his secret weapons against El Gato. So we went from something that's super serious, and then we went completely ridiculous, which made me laugh when I wrote it. So Luther has a monkey. He was the first monkey in space, by the way.
That we know of.
That's true.
Oh.
That survived the journey.
The Tunguska blast of 1914 may have sent monkeys in space.
Hey, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn. Who'd you like? What'd you like?
There's so many good ones to choose from here. It's almost too difficult to do and to pick just one, because I think this particular cycle and the BRL was really, really good in terms of TT overall. But if I have to pick one, gun to my head, it would be... No, I had to talk about the Suburban Hell Savages. I know we talk a lot about these guys on this particular show, but again, if you're a rookie, if you're currently in the NWL, or if you're someone out there that maybe haven't trash talked in a while, or someone who historically doesn't trash talk and is looking to get into it, I would read the Suburban Hell Savages and the BRL, because what they're so precise in the way they TT. They hit all their points. So they're talking about the DOD. They're talking about they're talking about a lot of different people in this TT. They're casting a wide net. That's why it makes it so enjoyable. But the stuff they were saying about the disciples of dumb and ghostly hides in the shadows, to me, it was hilarious. Again, they're mentioning Bitter Cold Becky and the Double X Championship. They're talking about War Games. They're talking about the Summer Series. Like, they're talking about Autumn Anarchy. And they hit their points so well, and it's crafted fantastically. If you're looking for an example of how to TT the right way, take a look at Suburban Hell Savages.
All right, well, I have the three that I thought stood out to me, and again, strong cycle. I'm really happy as the commissioner to see the trash talk. Not only, we often say, just trash talk, but this is going from a level of just quantity to quality. So the three things that stood out to me, one was, and again, it goes to my point of development of storyline and pushing things along. So Mascara Negro came in and kind of called out Ghostly Shadows, been going at it. He came down, interfered in this match. There was a standoff, and he turned and joined the DOD. So he ripped the shirt open, had the DOD shirt on, which I didn't see that coming, so it was a great turn to read about. So you have that. Next up was the Russian Roulette, which turned on Jimmy North and joined sides with the Venom Scott team. They came out, kind of explained themselves. Then El Dragon de Oro, who's part of their IWAR World Six-Man team, came out to kind of confront them, and they stood by as he was assaulted and nearly crippled by Venom Scott's guys until Jimmy North made the save. So again, pushing that storyline forward. And then the third one, I don't know who did this because it was a mystery attack, but it wasn't one of those mystery attacks where you're like, oh, it's a cheesy, so-and-so was found unconscious, ha ha ha. They took existing trash talk, which a few cycles ago, the Suburban Hell Savages did a thing where they were kind of talking from their I don't know, Hall of Justice type thing, where they have titles. So this person wrote it up that somebody came in and destroyed their museum and left a clue. So whoever did it, well done. Because I read it going it's fun when you read something like, oh, this is so-and-so. And I messaged so-and-so and said, did you do that attack? And they said, no. Oh, okay. So whoever did that, well done, dismantling, destroying the Suburban Hell Savages Museum. I will say on a preview note, going forward, a little teaser, the BRL Commissioner titles. Now, we had quite the hotbed of women's activity for quite some time, but it's kind of cooled off. And in the interest of simplifying the report, we're going to have some unifications of commissioner titles in the BRL that will be held in a few cycles and revealed at Battlecade. So expect that to be going down this fall/winter, I guess. So there's that.
Hey guys, did you guys see the Mascara Ace segment in the BRL TT?
Yes.
Did that look familiar to you?
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying that maybe great minds think alike. Because I think we have another zombie luchador somewhere in some other league that's doing stuff. I don't know, but
zombie luchador.
I'm just gonna leave it at great minds think alike. Okay, next up is the IWL League Champion Solomon Graham, Television Champion Ali Atari, New York City's Champion Dakar Wolof, Los Angeles Champion JJ Dallas, Boston Champion Troy LaCroix, Detroit Champion H. Del Imposter, Cleveland Champion Drunken Camper, Dallas Champion Senior Lucha, Memphis Champion Algebra Jones, Miami Champion Frederick Xavier, San Francisco Champion Grover Dill, Chicago Champion The Magnificent Black De Niro, Tag Team Champion Graham Underwood and Kennedy Cage, TV Tag Team Champions Fortune 500 Aaron McFeast and Hostile Takeover, Six-Man Champions Frederick Xavier, Graham Underwood, Kennedy Cage, known as the Chaotix, TV Six-Man Champions Luther Alexander, Tim Riggins III, and Solomon Graham. And the Chaotix did win 5 free matches apiece for retaining their Tag Team Championship and their Six-Man Championship. So, Juan Cena, what's going down in the IWL? Well, I guess the first thing we have to talk about Wrestle Riot 2018. Pay-per-views in the books. Thank you for everyone who contributed and submitted matches. I thought the pay-per-view came out great, so nice job. I'm not going to go over it here, but, take a time out. Even if you're not in the IWL, take some time out, read this pay-per-view. I think it's done extremely well. And we finally get the payoff for the Black Demon and Senior Lucha feud. So,
did you guess who the Black Demon was?
I don't think anyone saw it coming.
I didn't.
No, I don't think. There's some people who reached out to me. It's like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, so no one
Twist and turns.
saw that coming.
There were some clues that I don't think anybody would have ever put together, though.
For example?
Me, for example?
Well, you said there were clues.
Take, for instance, the fact that he stayed behind when the rest of the Von Snops left. Right now, looking back, doesn't that seem a bit odd that he did that?
It does.
Dick move, bro.
It sure does.
It does, right? But it's not something that you would put together, right? But now you look back and you're like, oh,
that's called foreshadowing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, I think it goes in a couple different things here. Is number one that Luther was clearly involved. Again, I think also having Black Demon Jr. as a part of Revolution Extreme last year. There were some hints there that he was involved in this. Luther's overall hatred of Lucha Libre. That is coming across. I see a typo that I did on this too right now. Fuck. It closes the chapter, but the book is still going. So
yes, it's another twist yet to be had.
Yeah, so guys, stay tuned for that. So guys, in terms of trash talk, what do you guys have?
I have Ravishing Rex Rude, who does another. What's funny is we often talk about like Servant Hell Savage is very complex, but it's a good example of how to build a very complex trash talk piece.
Yeah. Rex
Rude is a great example of how to build a simple but effective trash talk piece. You don't have to call everyone under the sun. You jump around. You can just be focused on one, maybe two competitors, and deliver a strong message. And that's what I love about this promo. Really strong work.
NWL alumnus Rex Rude, by the way.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson, what do you got for us?
Yeah. I would say that was one of the two I was thinking about whether or not to talk about. Yes, definitely kudos to Ravishing Rex Rude. Definitely super strong stuff. If you're looking to improve your trash talk, he's definitely somebody to kind of pay attention to. Just really, really solid every cycle. And this was another good one for him. The one I would like to talk about is the Midnight Society. They're coming off a few big wins, a few big losses from Wrestle Riot, but there are some changes going on with the Midnight Society. First of all, Drunken Hunter. They talk about how they drove the Monroes from the IWL. That was a big win. But the reason that happened is Drunken Hunter, who came out and assisted them, he comes out. He is no longer wanting to be referred to as the Drunken Hunter. He is now Kid Montage. Is that Montag?
Montage?
Sure.
I think it's depends. Does it have a E at the end, or because it's Montag?
It does not have.
So I would call him Montag.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Comment
anyway,
below.
Very good stuff. He's talking about how he kind of got stuck under the tutelage of Camper and Fisherman, how he is never really happy, how over the past year he's become closer and closer friends with Winston Smith. And then, in addition to that huge revelation of Drunken Hunter becoming Kid Montag and joining the Midnight Society, they kick out the last original members, the Boys LaCroix, for their repeated losses. So they kick them out, and there's a call to the IWAR Tubecast in there. You enjoy that sort of thing. But just a
when
lot
did I
of really
become a
big
character
changes.
in the IWA? It's ridiculous.
Well, there is, I will say once again, there is a scrub wrestler in the CWL named Juan Cena. So
It's a very common name, okay?
just a lot of stuff.
It's a very common name.
There's a lot of stuff happening, that very big, influential group right now. So that's mine for this cycle.
All right.
Does Juan Cena have a shirt that says "You can't hear me"?
Yes.
All right, nice.
Like the time we did that Tubecast, I wasn't recording it.
That was a great one.
That was the best show ever, actually, wasn't
That
it?
was actually it was exactly it was a really good show. For me, some things that really stood out to me was the return of Dr. Slam. Nice to see him TTing again. Again, he's on point. Again, don't forget that he has a title match at the next pay-per-view, King of the Ring. Neo Dragon's TT for the cycle is fantastic. He had a house party at his house. On his kitchen island, there's cooking bacon and Elmo boxer shorts. I mean, he had one hell of a party there. So I thought that was really well done. So shout out to Neo Dragon. I thought it was really good stuff. And then a sad note, we have kind of the end of the Monroes here in the IWL. They are obviously over the CWL now. Sad to see them go. Although I know you're not, but I'm willing to wager that even though they've left in August, that they'll probably still win 6-man and tag team of the year. Because they're that far ahead.
Well, not if the Chaotix have anything to say about it.
We'll see about that. We had debut of Colt McQuaid in Invasion IWL. He's going to be tagging up with James Braddock, and it will be known as Magnum Force. Because you can't get any more stereotypical 80s than Magnum Force as a tag team. We have a fantastic TT here from the Math Club. These guys are fastly becoming one of my favorites.
Math Club.
I'm waiting for the Scott Steiner-ish promo that they're going to cut eventually. Like, that's going to have to happen.
Hey, speaking of that, did you see Wendy's? Their Twitter account actually did a spoof of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because Joe did the whole thing where he was talking to camera and was saying Wendy, it's AJ Styles' wife.
Hey, fantastic!
Oh, it's fucking awesome. I really do like this picture of Solomon Graham. I know he put his name in the hat for the draft. I'm gonna try to draft him back to the IWL. He's the current reigning and defending league champion as well. But I think he's getting hot right now, and I think I want to keep him, so I want to try to figure that out.
I have a IWL related question.
Yeah.
Since the king of the IWL has gone to the CWL, will there be a new tournament to determine the new king?
Yeah, it's at the next pay-per-view named King of the Ring.
Good. I was asked that, and I was like, I'll ask on the show.
It's in. If you see the, if you watch, if you look at post to post, there's a brand new bracket for that. So I can quickly go over the brackets. We have TR3, Winston Smith Jr., Rookie Fuji, Grover Dill, Solomon Graham, Alex Von Schnapp, Blank, Kennedy Cage, Rex Rude, Bubba Benfender, Algebra Jones, Drunken Hunter, Neo Dragon, Black Nero, Luther, and JJ Dallas are the combatants for the next next King of the Ring. So one of these men will be the new King of the Ring.
So did this tournament start this cycle or next?
It's gonna this particular cycle. This particular tournament is a one cycle tournament.
All right,
will take place at the pay-per-view. The other tournament that we're running, Best of the Best, has already started.
Okay.
So that started last cycle, or this cycle that we're reviewing now, to be more appropriate. And to quickly wrap up with the IWL, fantastic TT from Solomon Graham. Again, I'm going to try to keep him. I want to try my best. We'll see how that goes. I know we're missing TT from H-Del Imposter.
I was excluded again. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to see it. So hopefully we can get that posted to the IWAR Network Facebook page. Guys, if you run into any kind of scenario where the IWA doesn't publish your TT for whatever reason, it's happened from time to time. Some of us more than others. Make sure you tell us, you let us know. And if I have to talk to the IWA, I will, and see what's going on with that. And we can figure out a way to make sure that they get it and they verify that they got your TT. Number two, you can also post that to the IWAR Network Facebook group, so we can all see it. So if there's stuff on there that people have to react to, or a sneak attack or something, that we can see it and we can take the appropriate steps. All right, fantastic. Next up is the NWL League Champion Billy Club, TV Champion The Wrestler with No Name, Atlantic Champion Friday Night Joe Fantastic, Central Champion Beautiful Blake Valentine, Dixie Champion Matthew Grabowski, Eastern Champion Mayhem, Mountain Champion Chameleon, Northern Champion Triple Threat, Pacific Champion Bookworm, Prairie Champion Johnny WrestleFest, Southern Champion Timothy Zabapowski, Western Champion The Christian Warrior, Tag Team Champions Beautiful Blake, Stunning Steve, TV Tag Team Champions The Wrestler with No Name and Alabaster, Six-Man Champions Friday Night Joe Fantastic, Beautiful Blake, and Stunning Steve, TV Six-Man Champion Bruce Inferno, Gary Galaxy, and The Bookworm. So Matt, what's going down? NWL.
Oh, there's so much going down.
That's what she said.
Well, we have some breaking news. The finals of the All-Rookie Cup, the IWAR-wide All-Rookie Cup, came down to 4 individuals. The villain Victor Kane, the BRL, and then 3 NWL wrestlers, Jordan Drake, Late Night Logan Kane, and the author of Agony, LePage Turner. And Late Night Logan Kane is your winner of the 2018 ARC. So well done. That's our breaking news.
Son of a bitch.
There are... Well, speaking of Logan Kane, he wrote the phenomenal, the winner of last cycle's promo of the month, or cycle, which was the multi-page sneak attack on LePage Turner. And LePage Turner responded in kind and included him destroying the set. So it was kind of IWA karma that they didn't put his trash talk in. So now everyone thinks it's like, oh, he's selling the destroyed set. But he's not, but still, pretty cool timing. Again, another strong cycle. I wanted to say that my favorite TT, and it's hard to nail down, there's a bunch of good ones, came from the Chameleon, who's been strong every cycle with his trash talk. I was also very happy to see he snagged the regional belt. He's had a tough time. But his promo is 2 pages. In the first page, there's a running gag between him and LePage Turner, who keeps calling him a knockoff of Zartan. So if you don't know G.I. Joe, Zartan was the chameleon-like bad guy who could impersonate others.
The master of disguise.
There you go. And the chameleon is the master of disguise. So he, 2 cycles ago, played off it by incorporating the G.I. Joe theme song into his promo. This cycle, he did a full-page promo where he included the name of every G.I. Joe character code name in his promo. So read that now if you have the endurance to challenge yourself to think of every G.I. Joe name. I had a friend who was able to tell me he could name every G.I. Joe character, and I'd be like, I don't care.
You know that?
I know you can.
I can.
His next attack was, again, on LePage Turner, except he dressed as Vince McMahon. Did a wonderful promo. It just was really well done again. I will do a quick shout-out to the American Patriot, who has been very firm as a face, kind of good guy, and he's been getting a lot of heat. So he did a cool thing where, again, I like when people do callbacks to other promos. They tie things in. So there was a line in there where he goes, let's go out here, where Deborah Dan D says, you've been very outspoken about sneak attacks, against anyone pretty much. Many of the top stars of the roster attacked LePage Turner. What are your thoughts? And his response, even I can't speak out against that attack. It was justified. So beautiful work to throw a quick little dig. But there's a lot of that in this cycle. A lot of guys interacting. It's fantastic. Keep it up, guys. You're all on the right path. Have fun with it. And we have if you're listening now and you're not part of our NWL locker room chat group, we have a chat group on Facebook of just NWL players, and we talk about everything from strats to TT, everything you think of.
And since the locker room, Matt walks around with no pants on.
Well, yes, of course. And like the old guys at the gym who stand around with one knee up on a bench and talk to you naked. It's a good time. Getting back to my point, the trash talk's very strong. So what did you gentlemen like? What stood out to you?
I will say first that I started reading that Vince McMahon chameleon stuff, and I have the viewpoint, and I've discussed this with other players, I have the viewpoint that the IWA operates in a universe different than ours, if that makes sense. So, in the IWA universe, there is no WWE, right? Mm-hmm. But that aside, so I started reading it, and I'm like, oh, man, it's good, but, I don't necessarily like that crossover usually. But then I get towards the end, and I started to get the inclination that maybe this was the chameleon, and I was justly rewarded. Yeah, I love the chameleon. I think I've made it known that I'm a bit of a mark. So, good stuff. It's I liked it so much I overcame the fact that I normally don't like the universe crossing. So that's how good it was.
Well, I figure in this particular universe that Vince McMahon walks around with sandals with socks on. So
yeah,
which I find hilarious to me.
Yes, and you know who else walks around with sandals with socks on is Pop Culture Peter Cross. But that's another story for another time. But
that's literally the most un-American thing you can do, by the way. I'm vehemently against sandals in general. Even worse about sandals with socks on it. Even worse with flip-flops with socks. You can wear slides with no socks. You can wear slides with socks. But you can't even talk. Don't talk to me. If you got flip-flops or sandals on, you're wearing socks.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. Get out of my face. As Mr. Anderson's like, well, I wear them all the time.
I'm wearing them right now. Oh,
Mr. Anderson's currently in his pajamas.
Now.
It's true.
Of course.
I have a feeling that you're wearing the footy pajamas. Like old school, WWF ones with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage on them.
I will neither confirm nor deny that I do enjoy a good pair of footy pajamas in the dead of winter. And on my Adonis of a frame, it's a pretty good look.
I can only imagine.
But only imagine. So I think we were talking about the NWL, and I think I was going to talk about my favorite trash talk. Mm-hmm. And so my favorite trash talk this cycle are some newcomers, the Star Factory.
Yes.
And these gentlemen came hot out of the gate. They posted a picture on the IWAR Network Facebook page. If you're not on it, why not? Unless you're a fake profile. Oop, dig. So the big JG comes out, and he's talking about he's the manager of champions, of legends, future Hall of Famers. He introduces beautiful Blake Valentine. He introduces stunning Steve Larson, and he introduces the leader of the faction, Friday Night Joe Fantastic. And when you talk about making a splash, these gentlemen won 2 regional titles, tag team titles, and 6-man titles. Yep. And that's how you make an immediate impact. I think we can all say we expect some big stuff coming from these gentlemen in the coming months. And as we've talked about off air, there's so many good NWO players right now, and there are so many good NWO players who will finish their time over the next, say, 4 to 6 cycles. So with new players coming in like the Star Factory, I think the NWL is just going to keep carrying on. Fantastic stuff.
Man, I dig it. Now, for me, I'm looking at Sloth's NWL.
Yes.
I find that shit funny to me.
I don't even know what it's about. I've been asking multiple people what that was about.
He puts down and prototypical serial killer magazine cutout that Sloth likes wrestling, not Bob. So apparently he has problems with Big Bad Bob.
Yep.
So maybe we can get a Sloth versus Big Bad Bob match in the future. That would be fantastic. But in terms of TT all around, I mean, for me, it's Blazer Corp. Blazer Corp just doing big stuff. They're talking about war games. They're prepping for the final battle between Blazer Corp and the Carnage Squad. And it is really, really good stuff. I know these guys are graduating pretty soon. I hope I get them. I'll tell you that much.
I will say, to give you a little preview over the next few cycles, who's graduating, we have Wrestle with No Name just finished. Keelan Wendorf just finished. Jordan Drake's about to finish. Johnny Carnage, Death, Railroad Express, then the Blazer Corp. I mean, just the next 4 or 5 cycles. Because people have been asking about the draft, and we'll go into the draft later on. But it's going to be a loaded draft. Loaded.
Yeah, man. I dig that. I want them all. I know that's very simple.
Yeah. Can we just lump them as one big group and not let the first pick take them?
With the first pick, the IWL selects the NWL Great Hurting Clash. God damn, genius!
What the heck?
Ridiculous.
Son of a bitch.
All right, so we're gonna quickly go through each league's news in order. So we'll go. Matt, what do you got at BRL news? Events. BRL events.
Event news. Autumn Anarchy 6 is coming up, or 7 rather. 7, is coming up. What you want to do is TT, because I will build the pay-per-view off of the trash talk.
Okay.
So it's been getting better, so expect to see. If you have a preference for a match, please contact me. I'm happy to help. That's kind of our big event in the fall. Then we're going to go right into Battlecade in the winter. So that's BRL news.
Awesome. Mr. Anderson, CWO event news.
Well, we just, as previously mentioned, we just had our Wrestle Frenzy 4 pay-per-view, so the results will be in the next bulletin. Our next pay-per-view will be Nuclear Warfare, November 27th. So that's a play on the challenger for the Continental title, Joe Boring, the name provided by our good friend Tough Tom. Appreciate his creativity. I had kicked around, what are some good ideas, and actually it was his idea. If I'm being completely forthright, it was his idea to name a pay-per-view after like a major storyline that's going on, and who better than Joe Boring, right? Except Canyon. Who better than Canyon? But who better than Joe Boring to name a pay-per-view after right now? So that will take place on November 27th. Event-wise, our Four Corners Invitational is wrapping up for this year. The finals will be the BRL's Steve Stryker, who absolutely crushed it this cycle. Congrats to him. Against Scoot Farkas from the IWL. So they will face off for 10 free matches and a shot at the IWAR Revolution Championship. Good luck to both of those gentlemen. I do want to take a moment to talk about the next IWAR-wide event sponsored by the CWL, which is Combustible Elements. There is a promotion in both the CWL Bulletin and the Ringside Magazine Bulletin. The entry is $2. There will be 3 rounds and then a finals. If you have any questions, please let me know. All the information is in there. All the credit will be given to the top 2 finishers. So 75% of the credit's going to the winner. The other 25% will go to the runner-up. So if we get a huge reaction to this, if, for instance, I'm sure my good friend Juan Cena is going to discuss War Games coming up. And War Games is a fantastic event. I can't wait to participate, maybe win this year.
Yeah,
I'll probably get
money.
fourth place. I did send my money.
They didn't confirm you. They didn't. IWA.
Oh, I definitely paid.
All right.
I definitely paid. I didn't tell him who was on my team, though. I just said I'm sending $5 to enter War Games.
Because I only have 2 confirmations right now. Neither of you.
Okay. Well, I definitely sent my money.
Kim.
With referencing War Games, if we have the type of response that War Games justifiably has, the credit to the winners here will be monstrous, like $50 plus to the winner. So it would be great to have a large number of entries. The due date for that, if I haven't already mentioned it, is September 25th. Please make sure that you send it in by that date.
All right, fantastic. And for the IWL, again, we are in the midst of our Best of the Best tournament. Again, winner of that tournament will receive a shot at the Pan American Championship and 10 free matches. In addition, we have King of the Ring coming up for our next pay-per-view. Again, I went over the brackets before, so good luck to everyone who is involved in that. They will also receive 10 free matches and a shot at the IWL Heavyweight Championship at the next pay-per-view, which I believe is Starrcade. Young Lions Cup update. Since FL Slobberknocker decided to leave the league, the 20 free matches and the shot at the Pan American Championship will go to Grover Dill. Congratulations. We also have the 4-pack challenge starting up. The teams that are included in that, we have John and Isaac Slaughter, Dr. Slam, Bubba Benfenter, Cajun Underwood, and Drunken Camper and Drunken Fisherman. So that should be a fantastic event there. Again, the winner of that will receive a shot at the IWC Tag Team Championship. We have War Games coming up again. Like I mentioned before, I've only got 2 entries so far, 2 confirmations. So I'm going to write a post on the Facebook group saying if you sent your money, please let me know so I can follow up with the IWA. Again, it's $5 entry. This event will run in October 2018. So the due date, is it fall? What comes first, fall or October?
I believe October then.
Well, I thought we were getting dog days, so I'm all messed up.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So whatever the cycle
really
before October is. So we have September, we have fall, hopefully. It will either be in the cycle before October, which probably is fall.
But no dog days.
No dog days this year.
Freaking IWA.
Yeah.
And Matt, what do you got for the NWL?
Well, a couple of things. One is the next Clash Champions will be the Clash Champions 3 Royal Rumble 3. So I know a few of the players have contacted me already about interest in joining in. It's $1 per wrestler. It is a massive brawl over a pit full of scorpions, broken glass, rusty nails, and other dangerous things held at Yankee Stadium. Please join. It's a simple winner-take-all process. So that's going on, and I will also announce that the Clash Champions 4, which will be in the December cycle, will be the first ever NWL reunion show where we'll have a massive card with former NWL alumni coming back for one night only for special matches.
Ooh.
So,
will a certain Monroe family be invited?
they could be. You know, never know, because he could see the Monroes taking on.
They could lose to the Blanks again.
There you go.
I honestly don't think the Monroes ever beat the Blanks ever. So we could wrestle one more time.
There you go. Fight forever.
Just throwing it out there.
It should be a scaffold match. And Matt, what do you got for us IWAR wide?
Well, I want to tip the cap to Senator Steve Stryker, who won the Best of 7 series against Misfit Messiah, and then therefore cashed in his IWAR Revolution Championship match and defeated Ricky Kyle to become the new Revolution Champion. And I was asked, well, what happens if he wins 4 corners and he earns a title shot, but he's a champion. In that case, you will basically bank that title shot, and if you lose the belt, you'll get a rematch the cycle after.
Oh.
So that's kind of how it works.
Oh.
He also won the Elite Championship. Yeah, so it's a way like that way you don't like screw somebody over because you're the champion. But Senator Steve Stryker also won the Metro and the Elite Championship. So the Elite Championship, which I believe is worth 1 million points in the IWA standings. So
That's
fantastic. So right now it's a tie for first overall between Vic Villain and Steve Stryker as the best IWA wrestler ever.
Yes.
1 million points.
1 million points.
And then moving on from that, you may have seen the post about Bound for Glory 6 and the entrance. So there are 30 IWAR competitors from the BRL, CWL, and IWL. And this is an event built sort of like the G1 in New Japan. There will be 5 cycles of competition. Each competitor will face every other competitor in the bracket with them one time over those 5 cycles. I just did the grid with all the matches. It's going to be confusing, so the easy answer is shut up, sit back, and enjoy. Just look at the results. You're gonna have, if you manage a wrestler, you'll have other matches. What I tried to do is have as many people as possible involved by going off of their highest ranked wrestler in the standings. And of course, as anything with IWAR events, we're built around trash talk. So trash talk wrestlers obviously got to the front of the line. We made a couple of exceptions for players who either were haven't TT'd lately or they had things going on, so they've had trouble TTing, and it's understandable. It's fine. But for the most part, it's a pretty good field of 30 competitors from the IWAR. So some people say, why no NWL wrestlers? And the simple answer is, in the past, when we've had NWL versus other league events, it's been a bloodbath. They just get annihilated. They might have 1 or 2 standouts here or there, but for the most part, they just get slaughtered. And this is about the best of the best. So you want to be the best, get out of your rookie league, compete with the best, and show us what you got. This will be a really fun event. Going to all the names right now. The next issue of the IWAR, which will probably be out by the time you hear this, will have all these names and the matchups starting next cycle after this one. So there you go. BFG done. All right, so the IWAR draft is coming up in October, which you might say seems like it's far away. It's not. It's almost September now. October will be here before you know it. October 18th is a Thursday at 10 p.m. I think we agreed on for a time. Yep. The draft will be live on the Facebook page. We've done this 2 times before. It's very popular. You get to watch the draft in real time. So it's not. People have asked us a lot too. Is it like rigged? Nope. It's open. So
it's a shoot, homie. It's a shoot.
Yeah. So
yeah. Just to be fair, one of the people who asked that question was Scott Anderson, and it really is. It's legit. So I'm excited. I'm even more excited. So I'm ready.
And here's the thing. We will say this. There are sort of asterisks to that answer, and they are this. If you manage multiple wrestlers and you don't wish to have wrestlers in multiple leagues, you want to stay in one league, let us know ahead of time that if you're getting a wrestler drafted, it's a package deal. So there's some tag teams I know in the draft, and everyone I've asked as tag teams has said they want them together. That's fine. One player made a second, two tag team, 2 guys for a tag team, and then a third guy as an individual that he doesn't care where he goes. Be aware that one of the things about this event is 6 cycles long. So once you get drafted, you have till January to start. So you can go to the league immediately. You can wait until January to arrive. It's your choice. It's a free transfer. Once you're there, it's a 6-cycle contest. Whoever scores the most IWAR points will win. So after that 6th cycle is over, you're free to either stay in the league you're in or you can transfer out. It's up to you. You will have to pay to transfer out, but that's part of the bonus of getting a free transfer in. So if you don't like where you're staying, that's okay. Some people have shown up. People have also asked too, well, can I show up late? If you want to be in the draft, that's fine. But if you show up late, it's sort of like running a relay race. You're behind the 8 ball. Unless you can pull off 4 great cycles, you're going to be having trouble winning it. Right now, we have about 15 wrestlers that have announced officially to me. There's probably about 6 more that are kind of on the fence. If you want in, please do so early. Send me a picture, your name, the wrestler's name, their league, some of their stats, like, titles. I've had a lot of people send me things like, how many titles they've won. Solomon Graham sent me a fantastic kind of career bio. That's perfect. The better, it looks, I'm putting together, we'll actually see the announcement page, a little mini bio preview sheet. So we're going to have previews of all the wrestlers in the draft. We're not going to have any surprise announcements last minute. So if you're not in that draft, you won't be in the draft preview. You're not in it. So get your responses to me ASAP.
All right, fantastic. So we have a couple of extracurricular topics that we want to discuss quickly, starting with fake profiles.
Bum.
Okay, so a fake profile to me, so everyone's clear on this, is a profile created by someone who uses a fake picture. They don't have any real friends. They don't post for the purposes of joining the IWAR Facebook page or any other random pages out there. These are not allowed in the IWAR Facebook group. And there are good reasons why. Number one, first and foremost, I need to know who you are. For example, if I let a fake profile or a troll profile or a burner profile, I'll call it kind of the same thing, and you harass one of our members, and then you get booted, and then I let another fake profile in, and that's the same person underneath another fake profile, and they come and harass the same player over and over again, I can't police the board. It makes me, as the administrator, it neuters me. I can't do anything. So they're not allowed, period. Recently, we had some people get upset about that. I don't fucking care. These are the rules.
Did that happen?
It did happen. These are the rules. Fuck your feelings. This is the way it is. For example, there's asterisks to the situation. Now, for example, if you don't want to use your personal profile or whatever, you can always contact me directly. Say, hey, listen, I'm so and so. I play in so and so league. This is who I really am. I just don't want to have a real profile on the Facebook page. That's fine. You can contact me. You can let me know who you are. I will know. I won't share that information with anyone. All right? Bottom line. But fake profiles, that's the way people troll. And I'm not going to have any trolls on this page. If I did, I would just fucking delete the page. Again, I'm not wasting my time controlling this. So, if someone's interested in joining the Facebook group, use your real profile, your actual Facebook profile, or whatever. Answer the questions, because to join the IWAR Network Facebook group, you have to answer questions. It keeps out a lot of the troll profiles and what have you. And again, I've had 15 fake profiles try to join the page. I'm not having it. I'm just not having it. And if you're going to be upset, and you're going to curse at me, and you're going to yell at me, well, fuck you.
Thank you.
Well,
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
I think it's important to note, too, that the recent events, my understanding is that those individuals were asked who they were or to contact you, and I think that you were fairly clear that without knowing who these people actually were, you were not going to let them in. And I don't think that that's unreasonable. And I think when you say you should be let in and then you don't like the answer you received and you give a response that is not very civil, you kind of only prove the point that you shouldn't be on the page.
No.
Right.
They lacked in maturity.
It kind of only solidifies the reason why you're not allowed.
Yeah. You proved my point. Does not make me feel bad about it. Again, if you have an issue, you can contact me directly. If you want to curse at me, you can go ahead. Like, that bothers me. Like, I don't get cursed out on a daily basis anyway. Like, come on. Serious? Like, that's a joke. I also prefer if they didn't go to the other IWA-related Facebook groups and try to stir shit over there or try to harass other people over there as well. Just bad.
Unless they're handsome boys.
Handsome
boys, it's okay.
The IWAR page is not the only Facebook group I admin, and there's stuff you do to make sure that you don't let no one lets fake profiles in. First of all, unless you're just asking for trouble, and then any reputable board won't let them in, and they'll do the checks. Right? You go through the profile, you check the profile picture. You look at all the Facebook friends. You look for friends or family, people who live that went to their high school, people who lived in their neighborhood, people, figuring out how a profile is fake is very, very simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out if it's fake. So if you're a fake profile, we don't want you. I don't want you on my board. I don't want you in our leagues. Bottom line. Anything to add, gentlemen?
I think that about covers that particular topic.
Yeah.
All right, next up. What was our other topic?
Well, we have our next topic is, of course, leagues that have closed.
Not our fault.
So the RCL recently closed, which is the Ragin' Cajun League. I've heard different excuses as to what happened. Blame this, blame that. I will say this. This is the height of flooding right now. We've got everywhere. One of the biggest players has the biggest amount of wrestlers. And we're seeing now is that... I'm sorry?
The biggest flooder of all time, right? Can we safely
as
say
far
that?
as I know.
Okay.
I think so, as far as I know. But, for the sake of this argument, yes. Currently speaking. Here's my theory on this. With a player like that's chasing out other flooders who don't want to play against him in his leagues, he has so many wrestlers, it's up to you, the other flooders, the big roster players, to step up your game and go to those leagues so they don't close. Because if you choose between going into a trash-talking league, and, that's fine, you can do that, but you don't trash talk. You don't care about trash talk. You don't care to. If you're a big roster player and you only care about that, that's fine. But it helps everyone else to keep that league open. So stay in those leagues. Guts up, man up, whatever you want to call it. Get in there and compete. Because if you don't, when he stops competing, and now he's an active wrestler winning league titles, and you all bitch about it, it's on you. It's not our job to stop that or prevent it. And if the league closes, the league closes. We had all this, we need more leagues, Why the fuck did you go there and compete? Where's your fucking excuse now? You had a league, you let it close because you didn't want to compete there. So, you can't have it both ways. Either you need more leagues and you're going to compete in those leagues and keep those borderline leagues alive because you need every league you can get, or don't. It's that simple.
I don't think it's my responsibility to put wrestlers, every single one of my wrestlers, trash talks. I like to be in trash talk leagues. I like to play for angles. I don't think it's my responsibility to create brand new wrestlers that I'm not going to TT in the league and place them in a league that doesn't have TT. That is not my responsibility. I'm going to play in the leagues that I want to play in. No one should be dictating to me where I should play, what style I should play. We do not tell big roster players that they should play our style. That doesn't happen. It's just the way it is. Under no circumstances should anyone be trying to guilt us or make us feel bad that a league is closed because our players and people who play our style want to play in leagues that have commissioners and that TT. None of this is our fault. None of this is our responsibility. We have 4 leagues in the IWAR. There's another 8 more leagues, 10 more leagues that have active commissioners and TT in it.
Yeah.
There's some leagues out there that have active commissioners with no TT. But that's the bottom line. Not our responsibility.
Stone Cold says so.
This league closing doesn't concern me. Doesn't concern us. What say you, Mr. Anderson?
Well, much of my comments would simply be rehashing some of the things you've already highlighted. But to throw my humble 2 cents in, just in life in general, I don't want somebody dictating to somebody else what they should do. If there are players that want to have, I want to state something as clearly as possible. I don't mind if people want to have big rosters. I don't mind if people don't want to trash talk. I don't mind if people want to have 500 wrestlers. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. Anything that helps the game be bigger is good with me. It's seriously, like if there were 30 managers that each had 300 wrestlers, the IWA grew and we needed more leagues, that would be awesome with me. I don't care. There can be 20 leagues in every Fed. Awesome. Sweet. But what happened with the Ragin' Cajun League is what you've already highlighted. And my point is that if certain people believe that we need more leagues, it's fine to have that opinion. But when leagues that would be type of league that big roster players who are looking for less active leagues would be looking for, when those leagues close, I think that that's a statement on those types of players. That's not a statement on players who like limit leagues. That's not a statement on players who like trash talk leagues. Those players are free to play however they want. Just like big roster players who don't want to trash talk and want to play for the report are free to play how they want. I don't want anybody telling them how they should play. If there was somebody on the other side, if there was somebody on the IWAR page telling big roster players, you need to come and do this, I would call that out too. That's not okay with me. How people want to play is their business. And so when you try and say, well, too many people are playing this way, no, don't do that. People can play how they want to play. And that's all I got to say about that.
I just want to be 100% clear on something. I know I've stated on this show a dozen times or so. Under no circumstances should anyone, and I'm just going to talk for myself, when it comes to the IWL, no one should be putting advertisements in my leagues without first reaching out to me. If you do so, I will take my index finger, jab it in your eyeball, knuckles deep, and rip out your eye. It's not a good idea. Just like I don't want inter-league, inter-fed pay-per-views in my leagues, all I ask is for you to contact me first. 99% of the players, 99% of the commissioners do that. And when they do that, I let them advertise in my league. So you may be questioning, why is it a big deal? Because I've run into situations in the past where people have prizes or have things to allure managers over to their leagues, and they can't come through with that. You have, back in the day, when I was the commissioner of the NWL, I had someone offering rookies free transfers to their league. NWL wrestlers get free transfers when they leave the NWL. That's not an incentive. So I have to vet these things. I need to look at these things. Because anything that's published in the IWL is endorsed by me. I don't want people asking me questions about stuff I don't know about. So I need to understand it. I don't need people asking me questions. Why am I involved in this pay-per-view match? What the hell is this? I did not sanction any of that. So, word to the wise, for those who are listening, for commissioners that are in other feds and other leagues, you want to advertise in my league? You tell me first. Then we'll talk about it. IWA already knows this, by the way. Anytime they get an advertisement that's supposed to go into IWL, they're supposed to contact me first. And they've been pretty good about that. Hopefully that continues, but we'll see.
Could I say something quick? I'm sorry. That it's interesting that you would mention that topic because this recently came up, and I don't know if that's what highlighted it for you. And while I would never put my finger in someone's eyeball, I do think that I do think that there's a certain amount of sad commentary when I expect that there will not always be courtesy between commissioners and certain players. That's different to me. But when there's a lack of courtesy between commissioners, I find that to be disheartening. So I'm not going to say that I'm as upset as Juan Cena. I'm going to say that I think it's a sad state when fellow commissioner knows how much work it takes to be a commissioner and how much effort you put in, and then they do something that I would say is disrespectful. I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't think it's cool to do that kind of stuff. And if you do that in a league that I commission, that's definitely going to put you in a place with me where I feel like not only do you not respect me, but you don't respect the kind of camaraderie in a sense that should exist between commissioners, because we don't all have to like each other. That's fine. But just have respect for what it means to kind of put the extra effort in to making that league and the IWA in general better. I have respect for commissioners who do things in ways that I wouldn't do it, because if it helps the game, that's great. But just be respectful. I don't think that's that hard. I don't think it's that hard. So sorry to cut you off there, Mr. Riley. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that kind of segues into the next thing of what I consider the plus-minus situation, in that when you're building a league, it can take years to get it where you want it to be. Okay, so it's a thing where you might get a good hot start, but as hot of a start as you might have, maintaining it is really difficult at times, because you got to keep recruiting, you got to keep delivering, and like the HRL came off super hot, super hot, and there was no limit. There was 8 gazillion people in there, and now we're at 44 cards last cycle, so it's starting to trail off. So I know the HRL promo went to a lot of different leagues, and I've said it, and again, just ask. It's a simple process. Having the IWA do well across the game is good for all of us. But, stepping on toes and just, things like that, if you want to maintain the success of your league, one of the best things to do is have a good relationship with other commissioners. So, if you're considering being a commissioner or you're a new commissioner, give your league time to form, be there and deliver. And one of the hardest things for commissioners to do is just be consistent. Keep showing up. We've seen so many leagues start off hot and then fade out, and they're gone. Their report's gone in 3 months, 4 months. So again, to keep up that level. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that, recruiting is a big part of it, but also is being innovative. And we saw some innovation with the HRL, with a big prize and dangling that credit prize out there, or sorry, the cash prize. That was one way to go about doing it. But I think, if you're going to expect your league to have continuous growth, there's only so many players out there. So you've got to really set yourself some realistic limits. Or expectations, as to say.
For me, when it comes to being an effective commissioner, especially when you get into, cycle 10, cycle 12, definitely when you get in your second year as a commissioner, you can struggle. Sophomore jinx. You see guys leaving. You can see cards starting to decline. It's happened to me. But, that's when you have to be innovative. That's when you have to change what you're doing internally to keep what you have. Now, if you want to add more people to your league, that can be done. But I don't necessarily think a prize or an incentive to come to my league is necessarily the best way. I wouldn't do it personally. I haven't done it personally. Thought about doing it, but I don't think it works, because it's just like, all right, they come into my league, they stay for 3 cycles, they're gone. I don't want that. I want people who want to play in my leagues for an extended period of time. So, the question out there for a lot of commissioners, aspiring commissioners, wannabe commissioners out there, is like, how do I get people to come to my league? And there's only one real simple answer for this. It's about building relationships with the managers. Being able to talk to them. Be able to be friendly with them. Make friends. Be someone's friend. You know what I mean? I guarantee you that the majority of my roster in the IWL are people that I talk to on a fairly regular basis. That's why the IWAR Network Facebook group is so important. I built that from nothing. It was 3 people. It was just a place for me to post my TT. We have over 100 members, and I try to keep the peace the best I can, and I'm accessible. People know who I am. I've did my best to build relationships with the managers in my league and the managers at large in the IWA. So I can hot shot it. I can throw, come to my league, I'll give you 100 free matches. Yeah, that'll work for a cycle or 2, and then once they get their 100 free matches, they're gone. You're talking about there's a difference between success and sustained success over a long period of time. Me personally, I don't like credit prizes. I don't. I do not want a credit prize in the IWO. I think you have people who just come in the league just for that. And you're going to clog up the league. I don't need to have the biggest league. I need to have a successful league. It's a big difference there. So, those are my thoughts about being a commissioner in general. Start building a relationship, guys. Start talking to people. Start talking to people about stuff outside of professional wrestling and IWA and build some long-standing relationship with some people. That's what I would do. That's what I do.
Next up, our second to last topic is league reboots. So taking a league and modifying it. So in this particular situation, we had a league that had a name that some players didn't think was actually too stellar in today's environment. So the name was changed. Or not changed, but the logo was changed. There was going to be a name change that didn't happen. So some players who didn't give two shits about this league then all of a sudden got all sorts of bent out of shape. The league was the Noble Savage League. So, suddenly they gave two shits about this league and changed the logo back to what it was, which was not exactly the best. But
regardless if it's offensive or not, it's a fucking shitty logo.
Right. So on top of that, that logo with the name didn't really jive in today's society. So what happened? Some players came forward, or a player came forward, brought the name to be now Native Sensation, and changed all the titles to Indian tribe names or Native American tribe names. And it's one of those things where someone says, "Oh no, we're not going to do any kind of casual or really racist stuff here, and we're going to make it all about the honor of the history and everything else." And it's one of those things where you go, "Oh, okay, all right, well, let's see what happens here." And nope, it's absolutely about a way to slip in some obscure, cheesy, as we said, casually racist names and racist tropes. It's just a dick move. And what's interesting is this whole fake outrage is, again, people who are casually racist absolutely hate not having a chance to express themselves that way. We were talking before the show about certain words and phrases you used as a kid that you don't use anymore because you grew up and it's not socially acceptable to do that in public anymore. I spoke how I worked with somebody who got fired because she couldn't stop rattling off those kind of phrases in public. And we spoke to her about it, and she still did it. And her excuse was, "Well, it's how I've always spoke. It's not a big deal. No one really cares." So we had the cousin of the phrase, "Well, some of my best friends are black," which is I'm part, I'm like 1/10 this particular nationality or racial type, and that makes it okay for me to do this. So the problem we had is that now we've seen several names on this revamped and honorable, bestowing cultural pride that are just absolutely insulting and ridiculous. And it just proves that you're a racist piece of fucking garbage. So fuck you.
For me personally, I don't give a shit about this league. I don't care.
Right.
When the logo was brought off initially to me, it was a shitty logo. So I'm the one who suggested that, hey, maybe we should change the logo to the Macho King Randy Savage and have it be the Noble Savage League with the Macho King. And then I believe it was Mr. Anderson who did the finishing touches on that logo. To me, initially, when I found out that, hey, they changed the logo back, they changed the name, there's going to be a commissioner installed there, and I was like, oh, great. All right, another commissioner league. Hopefully there'll be a strong TT league. Like, all right, all right. Can't wait to see what they do. Time passes. Saw what they did, and I'm looking at it, and I have to laugh to myself, because I think what's being done right now, I could be wrong, I don't think so, is a response, taking a shot back. It's like, okay, I can live with that. Now, to me, I can write a little email, send it over to Kim, maybe get this stopped, changed. It doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. I'm more disappointed in the IWA, personally. I am not necessarily disappointed in the managers involved in this because, that's what I had high hopes. But I'm a realist. I'm like, this is what's probably going to happen. And it did. For me personally, I mean, again, I don't think it's worth my time to message the IWA. They've made their decision. They're going to have to deal with that on their end, right? It's not an IWAR league. I'm not in this league, right? It has nothing to do with me anymore. I just made a suggestion. That was it. But it comes down to an overarching thing that I've been seeing, especially with the advent of social media and what have you. And it comes up to something that's going on in the world today. And one thing that's going on in the world today that a little disappointing on my part. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Again, can't take it serious because I don't take these people serious. That's the reality of the situation. But when I look at this report and I look at the names being suggested for some of the wrestlers in this particular league, I can only assume, let's set the racism aside. Say racism is a big word. I don't throw away that word. I don't throw around that word lightly, right? So racism is a mental disease. It's a mental disorder. I don't think racism is at play here, personally. Casual racism, what I define as casual racism, is more of a contrarianism, right? They tell me I can't do this, so I want to do it more. It's like my 5-year-old daughter. You can't do that. Well, that just makes me want to do it more. And I think that's what's at play here. Is the logo offensive? No, not necessarily. Maybe. I'll tell you this. My sister, right? My sister married a Native American gentleman. My niece and my nephew currently live on a reservation. My niece is a big Native American rights activist in our community. I know for a fact, right? I thought about it. I was going to pull it up on my computer and show her, email it over to her. It's like, tell me if this is offensive or not. I don't have to because I know her answer already. I know what it is. It's like, I'm not stupid. We're not stupid, right? And as a person who is dealt with legitimate racism, I mean, people who want to physically hurt me because of the color of my skin, I tell them this: bring what you got, because it's not going to be enough. Political correctness in general, personally, my thoughts on political correctness in 2018, always been not about my feelings or how I feel about a particular thing, right? Political correctness, right? Political correctness was not installed to protect my feelings. Political correctness was installed to protect you from me. Because if you come at me with some racist shit, I'm going to hit you in the face with a fucking brick. I'm going to hurt you bad. That's the world I live in every day. So, that's the real reason that we have political correctness today, in my opinion. Now, going back, at the end of the day, the internet, we all like to have jokes, right? We like to be funny, right? I'm a funny guy. I tell jokes all the time, right? In general, right? And I think we all have to have this moment in our life. When I was a kid, I would use all kinds of crazy words. You know what I mean? I used to say the N-word all the time. I hung out with the majority of black kids. That was socially acceptable. It comes to a certain point in my life, maybe 18, 19 years old, when I'm going out into the world, I'm in the workforce, and I'm at college and that kind of stuff, that I realized I could no longer use these words because of the way that society is. And society is always going to change. So what might be socially acceptable today in terms of language may not be socially acceptable tomorrow in terms of language. So at the end of the day, you either evolve or you die. It's like the people who smoke cigarettes, right? 30 years ago, you can smoke in a plane, you can smoke at the school, you can smoke in a grocery store, you can smoke in the car with your kids, you can smoke in a school. It didn't matter back in the day. You got a little bit smarter, a little bit more educated. People can't smoke inside anymore. It's bottom line. They all huddle out, sometimes in the cold, around a corner, and they're handling their business. And if you don't take a look in the mirror every once in a while, you're going to end up just like them. Away from everyone else, around a corner, huddled, and cold. Mr. Anderson, your thoughts?
Gee, well, I don't know how to follow that.
We need the more you know sound right there.
But in my effort to somehow provide an epilogue on that, I think that when you, in the same thread, actually, let me say this first. There was some discussion about the logo itself. And if I'm going to to use a cliche, if I'm going to give the devil his due, the logo itself, for me, is not necessarily wrong, quote unquote, in and of itself. And as discussed on the IWA Global episode with myself and Jake Joyce, if you haven't checked it out, I think we upset a few people with our logo choices. My issue was the combination of the picture, which I would say I think can easily be viewed as condescending, if not offensive, with the name Noble Savage. That was my particular issue, was the combination of the logo and the name together. So, as I believe Matt mentioned, or no, I think it was Juan Cena, when I saw that the logo was back, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not necessarily surprised, because I know, as mentioned, it's like, well, you really shouldn't have that anymore. Well, yes, we will have that. That's fine. I get that. But when I saw it was Native Sensation, I'm like, oh, okay. And the names are redone to be, tribes. I'm like, okay, let's try and keep an open mind, right? I still think the logo is a bit condescending, but I'm willing to try and keep an open mind. But then when you have this idea of what I would consider a juvenile reaction of, haha, we got this back. And then, to be fair, I think maybe Matt is on the right side of the issue, but maybe could have spoken a little bit more, less hostility. But if you're privy to that thread, it goes back and forth. But when you say what you're doing is okay, and when you say that you have native blood, I'm not in a position to argue that. Certainly if you do, okay. And certainly there might be Native Americans that are not offended, right? And that's fine. They're perfectly entitled not to be offended. But the point is, if it is generally offensive to the vast majority of people, as, say, the Washington Redskins, which comes up, if that's a generally offensive term to the vast majority of that ethnicity group, then that's to be considered, and that's to be thought of. But my point is that I was going to make 2 points, is that when you say you're honoring the native ancestors. And then in the same thread, you say that perhaps you should create a wrestler named Tokahanis. You lose a little bit of credibility with me as a person. Certainly my opinion doesn't matter to the vast majority of humanity, and that's fine. But when you try and take a high moral ground and say, how dare you say that I can't do this, I'm just trying to honor Native Americans, and then at the same time you think that names like Hung Buffalo are funny or appropriate, you lose credibility with me. And the other thing that I thought was interesting is I've gotten to be, at the very least, IWA friends with a certain manager, okay? And this manager managed the Sith group that was in the NSL. And let me give you a little quick background, if I may. There were 5 Sith wrestlers. They were all Darths, okay? They each had over 6,000 wins when they retired. That manager single-handedly kept the Noble Savage League alive, probably for several years. And you know who didn't give a crap about the Noble Savage League for several years? All these managers that are now upset that the logo got changed. You know who did keep the league alive is this manager. The Sith manager kept that league going. Because there were lots of years where there was nothing going on in the Noble Savage League. But he was there. He was racking up wins. He was keeping that league active enough not to be closed. And you know what the response was to him when he said, I used to manage the Sith in the NSL? By all these managers that are so coming to the defense now that the logo was changed? Silence. Nothing. Nobody responded. Nobody cared. Nobody probably even knew who he was or who the Sith were. So again, you lose credibility with me if you can't say, hey, thanks for keeping the NSL alive. Hey, thanks for having 5 wrestlers that had 6,000 wins when they retired. No, you don't get to take both. You don't get both. You don't get a high moral stand and then not know who this guy was. Because you only cared because it got changed. So that's about as angry as I'm going to get about it.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily worth our time and our energy. But again, I wanted to touch on that because I felt that it was important. I wanted to touch on that to properly explain, at least for myself, my position, just in case people want to have a conversation about it, which they probably will, but it's okay. I'm not a hard man to find. But at the end of the day, it is the IWA's decision. Right. Although I'm disappointed in it. I'm not going to make a fuss about it. I don't think it's necessary. So, I guess you win this round? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what you won.
Well, you're winning a game that we're not playing.
Well, that's
I'm not playing a game. You know, like, if you want to win a game that I'm not playing, fine.
It reminds me of, like, I drive a Camaro, right? I got one of those new ones, right? It's a pretty cool car, right? I like it. But this happens to me very often. I'm at a light, and I'm, like, listening to radio, dozing off into space, whatever. And there's a car next to me. Green light, car fucking gone. They were racing, man. I didn't even know it. Usually it's a Honda Civic of some sort. I'm like, okay, whatever. But at the end of the day, again, I don't like to throw that word racist around. It's a heavy word, right? I think it gets thrown around too easily nowadays. I'm just going to call this contrarianism at its finest. So, wish you best in your future endeavors in this league. Wouldn't be one that I plan on joining anytime soon. So,
I think I stated in my response that I believe this league, the commissioner will be gone in 4 or 5 cycles anyways. Because once you realize no one gives a shit, they'll move on.
To me, that's almost just as offensive.
Right.
You know? It's like, it doesn't matter. This league will probably close in a year.
Yep.
How many cards did it had recently?
14 or something like that.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you want to close out with our Q&A.
Let's do it, man.
All right, so question 1 from Spencer Dobson. How many IWAR drafts have there been? What is the record for most entrants? what are some of the draft stats worth mentioning? Well, this is the third draft, and I'm trying to think of notable stats. I know the first year was won by Touchy Feely Fingers Fairlane, who had 60 points.
Yeah.
The second year was won by Ricky Kyle with 65, who just edged Lauren O'Dur. Rub the wound. Have some salt. The first year we had 8 rounds. So the second year we had 6. This year, who knows how many we'll have. It depends on how many entrants there are. I do know this. You can have multiple wrestlers in the draft and have them go to different leagues, so, enjoy it. We do have a secret, or secret for now, entrant from the LWL to be revealed soon, joining the ranks. I would say the only kind of stats really is there've been 2 trades. If you don't know that we, the commissioners, can trade our draft picks or draftees. So in the first year, Senya Lucha was drafted by the BRL and then traded to the IWL for their number 1 pick the next year. And then the second year, there was a trade with the BRL trading their first and 4th round picks for the rights to Koenig and the Great David. So draft trades can happen. So we don't know what will happen, but it'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out. And then the last question is from Brad Norman. He asked for an update on the top 2 or 3 point guys in each league since we're getting into crunch time. So the IWAR standings, current points leaders. In the BRL, the top 3 are Money Driven Mike Sebastian with 150 points, Gran Sabrosa with 130, and Sir Gunter Kinderwacht with 95, although I've got to adjust, I haven't added the scores in for Steve Stryker. So Steve Stryker, considering he won the Metro and the Elite, will be boosting up in those standings. The CWL's top 3, Atticus Poundover with 180, Railroad Warrior Hammer with 140, and Joe Boring with 115. The IWL top 3, the Arabian Dream, Ali Atari with 125, Hostile Takeover with 120, and Graham Underwood with 115. In the New Wave League, we have the Patient Stalker and AJ Sabotage tied at 155, but AJ Sabotage is retired, so he's out of the running. And third place is Bruce Inferno, so that is also up for grabs. So it is late in the year, but we're looking at about 5-6 cycles left, I think, so we're getting there. So it's anybody's race. And as far as the tag divisions go in 6-man, well, right now, the CWL's Garrett, Shadowstar, and David Hammerhead have 105 points. The IWL's Big Blanks have 90, so they're kind of the top 2 tag teams. 6-man wise, it is the trio of the Chaotix, Frederick Xavier, Kennedy Cage, and Graham Underwood with 115, far outpacing the field. So there's your kind of standing. They'll be returning into the forthcoming issue, so we'll have more for that.
All right, guys, so we are officially out of time.